Have you noticed anything strange? Recently, there has been an alarming change in the water level in different parts of Yellowstone Lake. At the same time, it can rise on one side of the lake and fall on the other. It's like the pool of the lake is being raised by some underground forces. Could this be a sign of impending disaster? Geysers, mud cauldrons and hot springs turn this national park into some kind of extraterrestrial world. And all this is because of a mighty supervolcano. When a super-eruption occurs, more than 1,000 cubic kilometers of ash, hot gases and molten rock are thrown into the air. 4 super-eruptions could fill the Grand Canyon to the brim. It is believed that this volcano has powerfully erupted 3 times already. There were also many small eruptions. In this region, volcanic deposits created by weak eruptions are scattered over tens of thousands of kilometers. After additional research, experts found that these deposits were left by 2 previously unknown super-eruptions that occurred about 9 million and 8,700,000 years ago. So, in the area of the Yellowstone volcano, a super-eruption occurred every 500,000 years. But there have been only 2 in the last 3 million years. It turns out that catastrophic events are slowing down. Or they're just late. If Yellowstone had exploded with the same power as 2 million years ago, it would have erupted about 2,500 cubic kilometers of lava. Which is more than 4,500 times the volume of Sydney Harbor. A lot of lava. Whether this can happen or not is unknown. But something is happening to the volcano. Changes in the water level in Yellowstone Lake mean that the caldera is rising below the surface. A caldera is what's left after a volcanic eruption and then collapsed. The Yellowstone caldera doesn't just rise up, creating elevation. She moves up and down as if she's breathing. Perhaps the fact is that magma seeps into the crust. Or heats the Yellowstone hydrothermal system, causing it to expand and lift the crust. Yellowstone has the status of an active volcano. Its volcanic explosiveness index is 8 out of 10. This means that if the volcano starts to erupt, the apocalypse will begin. Right before the disaster, the ground around the national park will rise. Geothermal pools and geysers will heat up to boiling point, and their acidity will increase. Magma will begin to rise to the surface. At some point, the stone roof of the magma chamber will no longer be able to resist, and an explosion will be heard. A massive column of lava and ash will soar to a height of more than 26 kilometers. After that, the volcano will emit ash for several days in a row. The mixture of lava, ash and gas will be hotter than 1,000 degrees. It will move at a speed of 483 kilometers per hour, faster than a racing car. The air near the center of the eruption would have warmed up to 300 degrees. The worst thing will be the fall of ash. Volcanic ash can turn into vitreous cement in a few seconds after entering the lungs. Humans and animals would have trouble breathing. Under the weight of the ashes, buildings would begin to collapse. And in a few days, its 3-meter layer will cover an area of about 80 kilometers around the center of the eruption. After the ash hits the stratosphere, the temperature around the world will begin to fall. If the eruption is rich in sulfur, an effective sunscreen, it will become so cold that there will be no summer around the world for the next few years. The monsoon seasons will change. Agriculture will face serious problems, and there will be problems with food. Over the past 50 years, the Yellowstone caldera has risen by almost 60 centimeters. But experts believe that this is not terrible. Periods of domed ascent are replaced by subsidence. Scientists believe that the supervolcano is not dangerous now. In order for an eruption to occur, the magma in the volcano must melt by at least 50%. In Yellowstone, this number ranges from 5 to 15%. The probability of an eruption is 1 in 730,000. So it's unlikely. And according to a recent study, the hotspot may be in a state of decline altogether, even despite the breathing and activity in the rising dome. Nevertheless, there is a lot of discussion about options for preventing a catastrophic super-eruption. Scientists have even suggested cooling the supervolcano. Unfortunately, there is one catch. The volcano emits only 70% of the heat that comes from its magma-filled chambers, and the rest of the heat remains inside. As soon as the heat reaches a certain threshold, the volcano erupts. If at least 35% of the volcano's heat could be extracted, the eruption could be avoided. The colder the magma, the thicker and stickier it becomes. It ceases to be so fluid and does not try to get to the surface. NASA scientists have proposed drilling a well 10 kilometers deep and pumping cold water under pressure. The temperature of the water that will return to the surface will be about 350 degrees. Thus, the heat will be gradually extracted from the volcano. And if a geothermal power plant is built on this site, it will generate a lot of electricity. It would be easy to produce, and the price would be very low. At first glance, this is an amazing idea. But soon there were many critics. Imagine drilling through the Earth's crust, penetrating deeper and deeper. And then, bang! And you get into a geothermal pocket. So, prepare for a catastrophe. This can lead to the release of gases that can cause a series of super powerful explosions, or even provoke a full-scale volcanic eruption. The catastrophic consequences are clear to everyone, from lava fountains and avalanches of molten rocks to climate change around the world. Yes, not very well. Or, let's say you are drilling a well to deliver cold water to the volcano. And then you accidentally get into his magma chamber. In this case, the upper part of the magma chamber will become more brittle than before. And the whole structure can collapse at any moment. And even when drilling, toxic gases can be released. They often accumulate in the upper part of the tank with mom. Could it be even worse? Well, yes, it can. The whole process would take more than 16,000 years. In general, this method is too risky and is no good. In addition, there is no complete certainty that when the construction of the cooling system is completed, the volcano will remain cold for at least another 100 years. And last but not least, the Yellowstone supervolcano cooling project will cost $3.5 billion. A lot of money for something that might not work. By the way, Yellowstone is not the only volcano that has a lava dome rising. Lava domes are formed when magma comes to the surface and then collects around the hole. Scientists have discovered something similar inside an underwater volcano in Japan. This dome reaches 610 meters in height and more than 10 kilometers wide. Despite the fact that the Japanese supervolcano seems to be sleeping, experts do not lose their vigilance. A volcanic system can quickly turn from calm to teetering on the verge of an eruption. Another massive dome grows in the central Andes on top of the largest active magma storage on the planet. The Altiplano Plateau, where the dome was found, is the second highest plateau in the world. And the dome itself has a height of more than a kilometer. Why was nothing known about this huge rise until recently? The answer is simple: it is hidden inside the plateau. It is an arid region dotted with volcanoes, and it stretches for thousands of kilometers. Yes, it's not difficult to get lost in these parts. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe to the channel.